evening. My name is James Baroud, and on behalf of Fairleigh Dickinson University and the Silverman College of Business, welcome to the 7th Annual Recognition Reception. What a wonderful crowd, what a wonderful evening. Thankfully, the storm hasn't hit us yet. So good to see some of our successful alumni out there, and which we'll hear later on tonight. You know, it seems like yesterday that we launched this neat tradition, and my, how time flies. 7 years, just like that. And it just keeps getting better every year. So thanks again for joining us tonight. As you know, tonight is a night where we come together to celebrate the past academic year and the beginning of the new academic year. We recognize the achievements of our extended family, and also those whom we collaborate with day in and day out. As many of you know, the Institute's mission is to teach and support and foster entrepreneurship and innovation, and we do that for students and members of the regional business and nonprofit communities. For the past 19 years, thousands of people have come through our doors, and we've taught them and supported them, whatever their dreams and pursuits may have been. Along the way, we could not have done it without the partnership of the nonprofit community, the corporate community, the professional communities, due to their organizational and financial support. So it's really important to realize that this is not a lone project. It happens with partners and collaboration and friends of the Institute and the university. So last year we tweaked this program, and it seemed to work. So tonight we'll kick off with the awards event right away, and then later on I'll touch on some of the highlights of the year, and we'll go from there. Now this program is 11 years old, so we've been honoring students on the undergraduate and graduate level, the best business plans for many years, and for the past several years, Gina Tedesco, one of our most successful alumni, and also a faculty here, has supported this and this lovely reception. And I'd like to give a round of applause for her and her support. I'd also like to thank the judges who took the time to evaluate these plans. It's not an easy task, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of discussion. Many of them are here tonight, and they are comprised of our faculty and some outside folks who help us out. So I've asked a member of our family, Stephen Folda, our most senior and most distinguished adjunct faculty member. 17 years he's been with us. I mean, for that alone, a round of applause. I've asked him to MC tonight's awards. Steve?
I admit to being the most senior. You don't get this much gray hair otherwise, but I have to admit that I did 40 years as a corporate executive before the university strong-armed me. Is Jeff Rothman here? I thought I saw him earlier. Yeah, there you are. He and some of his colleagues strong-armed me to come here 17 years ago. It's a great pleasure to be here, especially as I look around the room and I see 9 or is it 10 former students in the MBA capstone, which we call Venture Creation, Development and Financing. You can see a couple of companies, 3 companies here that got business strategy and business plans from that program. And as you'll hear later, that program engenders some of the winners of this competition. I'd like Gina Tedesco and George Manloni to come up, please. As Jim said a minute ago, Gina is a survivor of venture creation, and it must have done some good. Because she and her husband Mike then started a biotech, which after only a year or two after you started Astralis went public, did a nice reverse IPO, and typical kind of reward that comes from having been exposed to founding entrepreneurship. When Astralis was still in the planning stages, Gina and her husband, co-founders, came back and won one of our student teams in venture creation, and they did a business strategy and a business plan, some if not much of which actually got implemented. And on Gina's right is George Manloni, who for quite a number of years, I guess it's a little more than a dozen years, George, has been my co-professor there in the Entrepreneurship department at the Rothman Institute. He has closely mentored many advanced undergrads. In the advanced undergraduate course that we have, advanced business planning, and there are several survivors of that in the room, including some of the winners that you'll hear from shortly. George also partners with me in venture creation, since we are in a position where we mentor our student teams. Some of you are in the room right now that work for real companies in the local workplace. Well, we have 5 winners of the FU Business Planning Competition this year. How can that be? Well, that's because there was a tie for second place. There were so many good undergraduate plans that it was difficult for the judges. By the way, half the judges are real-world types that understand business strategy and business planning. And so when we call up the second place winners, if you go over to Gina and George, the rumor mill has it that with Jeannie's support, there will be a plaque or a certificate, and we also believe a check for what I hope is a few $100s. And that's thanks to Gina and her company's and her career's success. When the first place winners come up, one first place undergraduate winner and one first place graduate winner, we'd like to ask the 2 of you separately, of course, even though there's a relationship, which is surely an accident as you were here, to say a few words. Well, as I said, there's a tie for second place in the undergraduate, and one of the second place undergraduate awards goes to DJ Hanna. And DJ, will you come up? I think there are going to be some pictures taken. DJ had quite a career here at FDU, 2 or 3 varsity sports. I can't remember how many varsity letters as part of his entrepreneurship. His business plan was a startup called Whole Affair Catering Company. Nice. Fine cuisine to be opened in Bergen County. A fine dining experience. DJ, I hope I get this right. You intend to rival any top-tier restaurant in the county. Maybe you're doing it already. I haven't looked. Okay, good. DJ developed a strategy to capitalize on consumers' needs for health benefits of being organic and natural, and differentiates his venture that way. I'm going to quote a few words, DJ, if you'll let me, out of your business plan. Your strategy will be to capitalize on health and organic foods, to build a strong local presence through positive customer relationships and word-of-mouth exposure. I hope that works out for you.
That's just fine. Thank you.
Did we do the pictures already while I wasn't looking?
Yes.
The other second place winner is so busy doing his entrepreneurial stuff that he couldn't come, which is regrettable. It's Tom Van Gogh, and Tom's business plan is for Plainview Orchids. Now, those of you in the room, I see a lot, those many of you in the room that are experts in flowers already know that Plainview Growers is one of the leading wholesalers of flowers, one of the leading distributors of flowers in the tri-state area. They're based up in Piedmont Plains. It's family business. And Tom Van Gogh, who is the next generation of that family business, hit upon the idea that Plainview ought to have a subsidiary, which he calls in his business plan, Plainview Orchids. I went to the website today. I'm glad my wife wasn't in my office. This is gorgeous stuff, and it's inexpensive. There's a special orchid. Do we have any botany majors in the room? We don't get botany majors to come to this, do we? There's a beautiful specialty orchid called Phalaenopsis orchid. And again, I saw it on the web today. His business plan recognizes and he quantified demand for these very rare flowers. He worked out a global arrangement to get the seeds imported from Taiwan, where they are grown inexpensively. And their business, their pricing strategy was to sell those to wholesalers at a competitive price. Apparently it's booming. Tom was too busy to come tonight. So, no orchids, no pictures. I don't hear the trumpet blowing, but let's go to the first place undergraduate winner, Cecilia De Gennaro. Would you like to come up? Talk about an intensive and extensive piece of market research and analysis to really understand where and how to do this. Cecilia's business plan focuses on 9 Lives Lounge, which is an upscale cocktail lounge in the middle of Staten Island, where local customers want to go to Manhattan, but they'd really rather not go all the way home. I hope Cecilia got that right. And it's a very carefully devised location strategy based on her market research. Quoting from your business plan, this is a nightlife outlet that's desired by many, but typically only available in Manhattan. This 9 Lives Lounge offers all the services typically found at clubs in major cities all over the world. Well, if I did that right, Cecilia, maybe you'll say a few words.
Sure. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to say thank you to a few people for their support and help throughout this competition and in making the plan. First and foremost, every entrepreneur knows how hard funding can be when trying to start their business, and with the funding goes the business plan. And you can go to Barnes & Noble and you can buy a book on business plans and you can sit there and you can do it yourself, but without the professors critiquing each step of the way, you are not going to have a good one. So thank you to Professor Mataloni and the other professors for helping all the entrepreneurs make these plans. Investors are looking for the real deal, and you want to be serious with what you want to do, and showing that you're serious is coming into it with a strong head on your shoulders, knowing what you want and knowing how to get there. Also, thank you to the Rothman Institute and the Silverman College of Business for the opportunity, and Gina Tedesco for funding this awesome competition.
We get to move on to the graduate awards. Almost always in the many years we've run this business planning competition, most of the winners have been very early stage or startups. But this time, the second place winner is an existing company that was looking to reinvent its strategy and its plan. And the second place winners, if you'll come up, Will Schwartz and Marilyn Solomon. Are the 2 other members of this wonderful team. They work with me, and that's Lauren LaValle and Paul Killian. Sherwood Learning Solutions is a corporate training and development consulting firm. It's been around for a dozen years. Thanks to this team, they reinvented their strategy and their plan based on, again, some very intensive market research and analysis. Sherwood is now, quoting from your plan, Sherwood is now one of many training and development consulting groups in the tri-state area that is differentiated and growing services by innovative, customized training. I guess I shouldn't say this in this room, but I suspect that certain segments of FDU, Dean Moore, don't listen to this. Certain segments of FDU might be able to benefit from this. Congratulations. Last but certainly not least, the first place winner of the competition is Carmen Malengo. Carmen, if you would come up, please. Carmen submitted his plan for Monty and the Fuzz microbrewery. I just heard some loud applause in the room. I'm not going to look at the individual, but that's someone that can provide some funding. Carmen's microbrewery specializes in craft beer styles, all malt ingredients, full flavor, unique. And Carmen, again, very careful and extensive market research found that that particular subsegment of the microbrewing market niche has been growing at 16%. Quoting Carmen from your plan, your brand is based on a mischievous underdog image. Wow. Which appeals to consumers seeking to try clever new craft-style beers. Monty and the Fuzz's vision includes engaging customers via experimental batches of products and also a unique internet consumer feedback system. I looked for it outside, I couldn't find it. If you would like to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you for that introduction. I just wanted to say a few quick words. I'm not wearing the typical entrepreneur outfit today, which is usually rolled up sleeves, half of my hair pulled out, bags underneath my eyes. And that's the same uniform you wear when you're planning your business as well as a year later when you're still trying to keep it running. I'd like to be able to say that this was something that I did on my own, but the amount of work that's put in by the other professors giving you guidance is tremendous. So if everybody could give a round of applause for all these people here because they've all done it. There's something I've been really wanting to say, which is this is a microbrewery plan, and I understand I'm getting a little bit of money from the school, so thank you, FDU, for giving me beer money.
We won't quote you there, but we do have you on tape, actually. So thank you, Carmen. That was great. Thanks, Steve, for emceeing. Appreciate that. And thanks, Gina, and thanks, George. I'd also like to recognize a few entrepreneurship students who received scholarships this past year. Michelle Mercado, I think she's here. Anyone who's here, stand up. Michelle Mercado, Miles Monroe, John Maceo, Matthew York. Congratulations, and thank you to our donors who make this possible, two of whom are here tonight, Pat and Ray Wisniewski. Made a tremendous endowment a couple of years ago. Plus, we'd like to thank Don Latour, who couldn't make it here tonight, and Kim Dennison, who runs our Family Business of the Year program, which all the proceeds from that luncheon have been going for the past 16 years to help support the scholarship. So thank you to all of you. We really appreciate it, and the students really appreciate it. Now let's take a quick look at a few of the highlights. I'm going to speed this up because we're running just a bit late. We have great faculty, and I could spend another half hour on them, but I think Jim left, I think Ethne left, and Dick could not be here, Dick Archambault, because someone unfortunately passed away in his family. So I'm just going to breeze through, and I could talk to you forever if you want to talk to you about what they contributed to the Institute and to the college. So Jim Almeida, Associate Professor, has been here 10 years, is also an Associate Dean for the school, is just a great faculty member and does a great work for the Silverman College of Business. He also helps us with outreach programs, does polling, and also moderates panels statewide. Ethne Swartz has been with the university just over 8 years. She's also an associate professor. She's also chair of the Marketing and Entrepreneurship Department. She leads many workshops. She's founded the Female Entrepreneurs Alliance. She works with our faculty to keep modifying our many courses. And she also has been integral to the promotion of our innovation programs over the years. And furthermore, her activities with Teaneck High School this past year has resulted in students for our Teen Business Camp and potential future students here at FDU. Dick Archambault has been a full-time lecturer for several years now, but he's taught for over 11, also as an adjunct. He brings a bunch of industry experience and manages our entrepreneurial society. He also helped develop and teaches the Teen Business Camp each July. We're glad to have him. Sorry he couldn't be here. So before we move on, I also want to recognize our excellent adjuncts. Now you saw two just here, Steve and George, and also Gina, and there's several out here in the crowd, but again, we don't have time to list them all. So thank you for all your work day in and day out. You all go beyond the call of duty to teach and mentor our students. Now, on the outreach side, again, I'm going to cut a bit here. Our Family Business Forum this past year hit 15 years. So did our New Jersey Family Business of the Year Awards. Now, we have great programs coming up for this year, one next week on Thursday and one for the Family Business of the Year Award luncheon on October 7th. I want to highlight Kim here, Kim Dennison. She's done a fabulous job with these programs and growing them over the years. But that's not all she does, as many of you know. She also works with all of our programs, writes the Rothman Inc., and does our female entrepreneur programs as well. And again, that's not nearly enough to say right now, but I want to especially thank her. Speaking of staff, as many of you know, Ann Protasewicz was promoted in May, and she did a great job for us the past 2 years. In the interim, we have a few GAs that I want to thank right now who have come on really strong and have really worked out well. And you'll get to know them over the next few weeks and next few months. So if you can just stand Justin, Jeannie, and Callan. We appreciate your help, and it's going to be a very busy semester. In addition, we couldn't do all we do without the assistance of all the different departments in the university. So I'm not going to list them all, but it's not a lone operation here. A couple other events worth noting. Our Discover Business Teen Camp this past year sold out on both campuses. We were featured on ABC News TV, so some of you may have saw a feature clip with Art McFarlane. That was great. I'd like to recognize any graduates from that program here tonight. Please stand. From Teen Business Camp, we got 2 back there. And our innovation programs really took off last year. We had the Media Innovation Conference last September with the head of Verizon, the CTO of Nokia, and the CEO of Lifetime Entertainment. Then we had the CEO of Campbell Soup Company come in to speak in November. And we held the Innovation Summit last April with executives, including the CEO from BD. We had executives from Merck and Celgene as well. And then in May, we recognized the winners of our first annual FDU Innovation Challenge, which highlighted the most innovative ideas from our FDU community. By the way, all of our lectures are now online, so if you miss any of them, go online, go to Google Video. Most of them are there, and thousands of folks around the world have watched them, according to some of the statistics. In fact, tonight's speech will be online at some point, as long as you get the okay from Ray, so that would be great. Now, over the next year, we're working on some exciting initiatives. In fact, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary, so stay tuned. We're going to do some exciting things. We'll also, on your tables, we have a neat program on the 23rd coming up, the next Innovation Conference, with a few executives from Honeywell and others. And then we have the CEO of PSE&G is coming in November and for a CEO Innovation Lecture. And other events are listed on a yellow sheet of paper right on your tables. We look forward to seeing you. I won't list them all. Plus, we're continuing to leverage our thought leadership in innovation and taking it to the next generation. We are creating a novel creativity and innovation online certificate program for teenagers nationwide. This important topic, we know how important it is for executives, but it's important for our young people to understand it. So while it's recommended by industry and academic consortiums like the Partnership for 21st Century Skills, it simply is not taught in 99% of our schools. We understand how important it is to our future, and so we are offering this program, and we're very excited about it going forward. And lastly, I just want to remind you, if you don't know already, we are being recognized by New York Enterprise Report magazine in New York City in about 2 weeks as a small business advocate. So that's September 17th in New York City. We look forward to seeing you there. It should be a nice gala event in downtown. So we hope to see you there. Now, we began this event 7 years ago with alumni sharing their insights. So it was really a great opportunity for us and for me to have our successful alumni come back and share their valuable stories and knowledge. To welcome tonight's lecturer, I'm going to ask Dean Moore to come up and take care of that. As many of you know, Dean Moore joined us 1 year ago, just over 1 year ago, and he's been a great leader and a great supporter of our work. Dean Moore.
Good evening, everyone. I know Jim went through the list of those that he wanted to thank, and let me just add my thanks to the students who are here, the young entrepreneurs of the world. Thank you for being here. The teen camp students, I met some of them this summer, tremendously impressed with them, so pleased to see some of them here. Faculty, we can't do what we do without dedicated faculty, part-time and full-time, so we need the total complement. Our staff, Jim mentioned his staff. We have staff throughout the university that just supports all of our efforts, so I want to add my appreciation for what you do to bring this evening to the event that we are experiencing. Jim mentioned there is a ceremony in New York City to honor the Institute, but really it's a ceremony to honor those who have contributed to this area. And I say that because it is a way of recognizing Jim Baroud as well for all that he has done. He didn't mention that when he mentioned that a moment ago. But Jim, it's a way of recognizing what you've done. And one way of showing the tremendous appreciation that is there for what you've done. So thank you. And I might add, the visitors we have here, we certainly appreciate your coming out. I see many of you that I've met before, so your continuing association with Fairleigh Dickinson University, the Rothman Institute, Silverman College of Business is indeed appreciated, and I encourage you to come out to many more events. And while I'm at it, I do not want to miss the support that we have been given from across the campus, from other colleges. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for coming, and appreciate what you've done. And of course, as all good deans will do, you will recognize the provost, who has supported, of course, Silverman College of Business in all its endeavors and continues to do so. Ken, thank you. Ken Green, provost. I met our speaker for tonight only a few moments ago. And it's one of those occasions where, as who was it, Einstein, who said he was trying to explain the theory of relativity. And he said, well, I think it goes like this. If you sit on a hot stove for 5 minutes, it seems like 5 hours. But if you talk to a pretty woman for 5 hours, it seems like 5 minutes. I talked with our speaker only briefly, but he has the kind of, I guess, character and personality that seems like you just want to continue to talk and talk and talk to him. Quite engaging. And I really got some insight into his business. And he is an FDU alumnus, which makes it almost always entertaining and interesting talking to what our alumni have done. Having said I talked with him for a few moments, seemed like I know him. I don't know him that well not to read from the script. So if you will allow me to use my cheat sheet for this one moment. Our speaker, Ray Wisniewski, as I said, FDU alum. For the past 8 years, he's been president of National Retail Systems Incorporated. Right now, he's the president and COO. He oversees day-to-day operations for one of the nation's leading retail logistics providers with more than 3,000 employees at terminals and distribution centers stretching across the country. His entire career has been spent in logistics, starting at NRS as a truck dispatcher. I guess not many people can say they started out as a truck dispatcher. I was mentioning to him that I love the truckers when they go breaker, 120. For some reason, I had to say that, right? In 1980, he launched Precision Works Maintenance Department at NRS. Only 6 years after starting at NRS, he was promoted to Executive Vice President, a very impressive career trajectory, where he developed the Glass House Visibility Information Technology vision for NRS that the company still follows today. Ray was a member of the BICS Working Council in the early 1990s. They created new EDI standards for the logistics industry that is still the backbone for what they do today in e-commerce shipping. He's active in the Retail Industry Leaders Association and numerous other charitable organizations across New Jersey. In addition, he and his wife, Patty, have generously endowed a scholarship for students in the Entrepreneurial Institute. Thank you. Through that endowment, each year, one of our students is supported and encouraged by this generosity and thoughtful caring. It is indeed a pleasure for me to introduce to you one of our own, Ray Wisniewski. Ray?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Rothman Institute, for inviting me here to speak. It's humbling for me to come back to Fairleigh Dickinson and address you all tonight. They wrote that over there, so you read. Actually, I met my wife at Fairleigh Dickinson in 1974. And I'm going to let this speech go because people wrote me a speech, and I looked at the speech and I said, you know what? I really don't care about, and I don't think these people are going to care about the top 6 things you need to know about business. I think you guys all know. So the first thing you do as an entrepreneur, first thing you do as a president or COO, depart from convention and just make your own decisions and make them right. That's how you do it. But a little background on my wife, who I met back in 1974, who got me, you know, all loved up, and I married her, and she introduced me to her family. And her family was a great family, and her father had started this truck company called Walsh Trucking back in 1952. And he started with a hand cart. And he actually used to take garments through the garment center. I mean, not garments, actually piece goods through the garment center. And he grew this business slowly, and he had his 2 sons, and he had his daughter, and she actually used to help out and go deliver trucks, you know, when she was a kid. And his one son, Frank, was a very dynamic individual. So I'll get to the quick point. So we get married, her father dies 3 weeks later. So about a week after that, and I was a photographer actually. You know, I got out of FDU and I became a photographer. That was a real love of mine. Her brother comes and sells me the idea. He says, listen, 3 guys have to run this place. He goes, there's me, I'm the president. He goes, there's my brother, he's the executive vice president. He goes, and there's you. He goes, your family now, and this is how it's going to work. So it took him about 2 weeks to talk me into this, and I said, all right, I'll give it a year. I'll see what this is like. I'll walk away from what I'm doing, and I'll give this a year. So it's 31 years now, I think, right? So I guess I liked it. But the thing was, we were a small little trucking company. We had 12 tractors, we had 23 trailers, and we had 23 straight jobs. And a straight job is a truck with a body on it. And we were doing very well. And Frank, like I said, very dynamic individual, was out there selling. And he was doing really good at selling. So we were growing. We were actually growing at a rate where we were growing out of capacity. So I guess it's about 1982. I guess I'm 28 years old, and one of my vendors comes up to me, and there was a trucking company called Spectre Trucking. Spectre Trucking was a nationwide trucker. They trucked across the United States, and they were in a lot of trouble at one point, and I think there was a Teamster contract that really put them under. So this gentleman comes up to me, he says, listen, he goes, you only have 23 trailers, or at that time maybe 50, and trailers were expensive, and since we were kind of on a tight budget, you know, we watched what we were doing. So he says, you know, you could get these 242 trailers that Spectre owned on this one lease with Irving Trust for about 140 a trailer a month for 7 years. The relationship there is we were paying about $280 a month for 7 years for a trailer. So if I bought 240 trailers at 140 a month for 7 years that were only about a year or two old and pretty decent condition, I just actually lowered our whole average cost per trailer, and I gave us the resources we needed to grow and really grow fast. So I went and started talking to these people, negotiating this deal out. And like I said, I was only 28 years old, so I really didn't do any big real deals with, like, especially with Irving Trust, you know. I laughed. I'm from Garfield, New Jersey. I walked into Irving Trust, I'm going, I can't even believe I'm here. They didn't throw me out yet. So I went and I made this deal out. And the one thing that I was lucky enough, and luck sometimes has a little to play with here, okay? Luck does help you out every once in a while. And the harder you work, the luckier you get. So I said, the one thing we need to do is we need to see these 240 trailers. And they said, well, we don't know where they are. They're here, here, here. I said, well, I'll get them and I'll put them all in my yard. I said, once I get them and I look at them all and they're all what they're supposed to be, we can create this deal and go forward. So we got all these trailers and we put them all in the yard, and they worked out to be something that we wanted to have. And it was going to help us grow into the future. And it came down to deal day. It came down to, okay, come sign the papers and this is going to be the deal. And I went to Irving Trust that day and I was all happy. I was on the 10th floor and they put me in this big boardroom. There's a big conference table and like 6 guys came in. And you have to remember I have these 2 other partners that that I'm dealing with. And the deal's 240 trails at $140 a month for the next 7 years. So I sat down and they put these papers in front of me and I started reading them. And they jacked up the trailer cost by $100. They were up to $240 a trailer for 7 years. So I looked at the guys and I said, listen, this isn't the deal that we talked about. I said, this is a completely different deal. And they said, well, we made some mistakes, so this is the deal, take it or leave it. I said, well, I came here and everybody, I've been talking about this for weeks. I can't leave here like this. I said, but is this it? Is this what it's all about? They said, yeah, we made a mistake, so you're going to have to figure out what to do. You want the deal, sign it, and it'll be $240 a trailer. So I thought to myself, and I said, all right, there's only one way out of this. I said, since they put me back on my heels, I think I have to put them back on their heels, which is a good way to negotiate. So I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to pass the deal up. And they said, you're going to pass the deal up? You want the trial? I said, no, I'll pass the deal up. They said, well, what are you going to do? I said, as soon as I walk out that door, I said, there's a public phone booth right over there. I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to call my dispatchers, and I'm going to tell them to take the 240 trails that are in my yard, because you got to remember, you're storing them in my yard. And I'm going to tell them to park them on Route 3, 1 and 9, Jersey Avenue, any place they want to park them. I said, so you're going to have to go find them. And I'm going to tell them to put them in places where the cops might not even like where they are, like next to next to fire plugs or whatever. So you're going to have to figure out what to do, and me, I'm out of here. See you later. So I got about 10 feet out the door, and they said, could you come back? Could we talk to you for a second? I said, okay, what do you want to talk about? They said, are you really serious? I said, I was walking right for the telephone booth. You saw me. I said, I got a dime in my pocket. I can make this call. So they went back. They did a huddle. They came back, and they said, what do you think if we do it at 200? I said, telephone booth's there. They said, so what do we got to do? I said, change the paperwork, $140 a month, and that's going to be it. That's the deal. And that's the way the deal landed. I mean, that's the way it came out. So essentially, the lesson that you learned there was, sometimes you're going to meet guys and they're going to try to change a deal on you. And if they do, don't lose your composure. Just think about how you can change it back your way. And that's exactly what I did. So it's tough to go to your client and say, hey, we're really green and we're going to raise your rates. And they won't go for that. But it's a fact of this. And fuel coming down right now is a good thing. But biofuel, the Chinese, and it's one of the reasons I think fuel's coming down right now, is that the Chinese took 4 million acres of property in China somewhere, and they're going to grow rapeweed plants. Now, rapeweed will produce 188 gallons of fuel per acre. So I think and they're really doing it. I mean, we have a partnership with the Chinese called Sino NRS. It's a 50-50 partnership, and they were just here, and we were talking about that. And with all the there's 600 new vehicles that go on the Chinese roads every day. Now, I'm not talking about new vehicles. I mean, there's 600 new drivers every day. So they're actually going and they're going to deal with it through biofuel. It's all replenishable. I think you can get 2 or 3 turns out of rapeweed in a year. So it's a viable source. And the original engine by Rudolf Diesel ran on peanut oil. So that's, that was the whole idea.
Two more questions. You mentioned a whole bunch of alternative technologies, such as your French fry mobile, the grapes, and and natural gas. First part would be, in the next 5 years, out of all these non-oil fuel sources, which do you think is going to stand out and really take over? And the second part of the question would be, right now there's a tangible 120K difference in the price of the automobiles. How long do you think it will take before it's the other way around, that for the companies really, for the more fuel efficient ones or energy efficient are actually cheaper? How many years do you think that'll take?
Let's say,
And
okay.
will laws be required to help that, or do you think it will just naturally do it itself?
I think it'll naturally do it. The market will do it itself.
Right.
I think biodiesel is probably the most, to me, it's the way to go. Diesel engines themselves, everybody always thinks of diesel engines as being very, very dirty. But they're a very, very efficient engine. They're very powerful, and they can develop a lot of torque. And I think it's Mercedes-Benz that is going to reintroduce the diesel this year and next year with Blue Tech technology. I think they call it Blue Tech technology. And Blue Tech technology and that whole biodiesel thing is going to take off over the next 5 years. And nobody realizes this because you guys always look at the price of gas. I always look at the price of diesel. The price of diesel is actually used to be a lot cheaper than gas. Right? If gas was 35 cents a gallon, you could buy diesel for 27 cents a gallon. Now it's actually the other way around. Diesel's at $4.18 a gallon. And the reason it's actually coming down now is because of bio and because of yellow grease. And what happened there was actually everybody figured out in the United States, and we're actually the only country that this happened to, was that who uses most of the diesel in this country? Trucks. All right, it's not cars; it's all trucks. So if you go to Europe, diesel really didn't raise its price. Diesel remained the same because they're working with cars a lot. Right? They're working with trucks, but there's a lot of cars that run on diesel. So it was the trucking industry that took the hit. I mean, like 85% of all diesel boilers are bought for trucks. So the biodiesel is going to help out. It's going to get more efficient. The technology that these guys have. I was in Cummins engines, and I actually saw an engine run with no oil in it at all. I mean, they're actually working with ceramics for bearings and things like that. So the technology in the next 5 years will catch up, and things will kind of get normal again.
How long will that take to implement to market?
I think it's going to get to market within the next 5 years. I think you'll see it very quickly.
Okay, I think we're going to end it there. Thank you so much, Ray.
You're very welcome.
Don't go anywhere. Stay right. Come on up. Thank you, Ray. If anyone has further questions, please come up. Ray will be around for a few minutes. I'd like to call up Ken Green, our provost, to give Ray an award. Want to take that shot? Here's the. I'd like to thank Ray again. That was a great stories and great anecdotes to really tell about business. Also, this will be in our institute, which is right up on the hill, which has your name and all the previous speakers. So that will be there as well. I'd just like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and thank Ray again and all the winners. One more round of applause for everyone.